Team 12 is one game away from jobs done. 3-0, as expected, over LFM. Jay-How, is there anything that you can think of? Jobs done. LFM can do?
It's a tough task. I mean, so far they've given up map pick, or the first one was actually home, but the second one they gave up map pick. Maybe go to something. I don't want to say try something a little cheesy. They've played safe in 2 games. They went with the Ragnaros Kel'Thas on Tomb of the Spider Queen, which is naturally known to draw games out. They went with a more objective-oriented Johanna Gul'dan on Infernal Shrines. Didn't work out. I'm okay with them just drafting normal and just going through the growing pains. Going cheesy a little bit against the top-tier team.
Seems very short-term.
Yeah, you're not getting much out of it. Maybe you take a game, but are you really gaining and benefiting from that? You need to be able to play meta. You need to be able to develop that. Whether it hurts or not along the way, I think I'd like to keep them normal. But if they want to have a little bit of fun, I'm not going to complain either.
Well, let's see where we're going at least, and then we can theorize if there's any fun to be had at all in this Game 3. LFM does give up first pick and chooses Sky Temple. In the past, when you would see a team go for cheese, this would be like the first, not Sky Temple itself, but giving up first pick to go to Battleground choice, but that is not necessarily the case here.
Yeah, I mean, there are some things that can come out. We haven't seen any Illidan yet. I don't know how popular Illidan will be in our meta now. We did have Illidan.
They did play it.
We did have Illidan, yeah.
There's a space station.
So there's a few counterplays that can be made if we can get an Abathur on this. Abathur's been banned out multiple times on this Battleground already. Maybe getting that Illidan in. Maybe we'll see a Zeratul from Team 12, maybe flex a little bit, you know, just experiment. So there are some things that they can do on this Battleground if they do want to try and mix it up and it's not too out of the norm. So this is a Battleground I think you get away with a few things on.
This is also the Battleground they got a win over Space Station on using the Cassia Li Ming combo with Arthas and Dahaka. It looked very good. They fell behind, if I remember correctly, with that game, but then, oh yeah, they had
the late game.
They had the 16 fight at the boss. That's deal. Sky Temple for potentially not only the final game of the night, but the final game of opening weekend. Team 12 says no thank you.
They're just like, look, we think Abathur might come out right out of the gate, so we're just going to make sure it doesn't even get to the second ban. I don't blame them one bit.
Nah. They have a lot of different things they can pick from. Team 12 is very flexible. It even leaves open one of the Shimada brothers. Will LFM leave them both open? Or do they want to ban Genji? ETC has been working out, or did work out in the last game for Team 12. Now they'll ban Genji.
I wish they made this desk taller.
I know. We look ridiculous leaning over like this.
I mean, I feel like I'm about to break this thing. I'm so big. But Genji being banned out. Hanzo, I don't know if we'll see high priority, first pick priority. It could be the ETC, but we've already seen Team 12. They can do whatever. So maybe they give up ETC, but LFM, if they're wanting to play standard, that does go. They end up going with the first pick Greymane. So now you have to decide, is it ETC Lucio? Is it ETC Hanzo? They go ETC Hanzo without hesitation.
Seem to be pretty happy about that dual pick.
Yeah, they're like, this is cool, we'll take it. And Team 12 knows that they're giving that up.
Yeah.
And so now they've got the flexibility on that backside. Greymane obviously can be Dansky or Cure, so they could flex a little bit on that second damage dealer. Again, Zeratul potentially could come out here. If it does, I think I'd rather see it post-second ban if they want to just kind of, all right, you know, this is where we can get away with it. But Justin, I remember going way back in 2016, going through, he was one of the few players in North America that was actively playing Tyrael. He's very capable on that hero, and obviously this is pre-rework Tyrael.
Yes.
This is another one of his better Battlegrounds as we've seen throughout this weekend. So it's something that with the Greymane, we might potentially see that from Team 12.
Like Zeratul, Tyrael has not been able to find a win yet in NA HGC, but Team 12 instead get the potential double reset combo of Greymane Li Ming. Thought maybe they would go that way, adding the Li Ming to the Greymane, and then getting Dahaka too. So now they have another global, or they have a global. They have a solid sign later for Goku. Probably his, man, I don't know. What do you think Goku's best hero is?
all of them.
Yeah, that is the correct answer.
Leoric
you answered correctly.
Leoric to Haka Sonya, it really doesn't matter. I'm sure, you know, we can get a Malthael at some point out. He can flex over to the Zeratul if needed. It doesn't look like it. There will be no Zeratul this game. They need their tank and their support with this back end of the draft, so I'm sure everything will be kept pretty standard. The Anubarak ban. That's a great way to set up combos, get the burrow in, have Li Ming. We know the execution is definitely there for Team 12, but maybe something else along the way here.
That is possible. Maybe a mage to add to LFM. He has the built-in spell armor. But for Team 12 too, Justin has played a fair amount of Anubarak. Not in this series, but in the past. So maybe just seeing that Li Ming, not wanting to have to deal with a cocoon. But Team 12 are going to take away Lucio though too.
Anubarak was one of his most played last year.
Yeah.
If not his most played. There was a time though Anubarak was
super
strong. Yeah.
Right.
So even beyond that, you know,
Yeah.
he's still okay. He's just not like, yeah, I'm going to be picked every game. You know, there is the potential for a Malthael. The cocoon on the Malthael is something that, you know, sometimes people will have that for, but it could just be keeping it out of the hands of Justin.
We will see right now. Arthas Rhaegar. Somewhat of a warrior choke being put now on Justin. Getting the,
There's no
yeah,
choke.
so
There's no joke.
good luck, but there is a little bit of one.
May we see, just give me a Stitches Malfurion? I imagine that it will, I don't even know if it'll be Murden. He did not play a lot of, I'm not saying he can't, but he did not play a lot of Murden last year.
Yeah, it's traditionally not, it's weird. It would pop up at international events, pretty much only. At a Western Clash, and then at BlizzCon.
He was pretty good going into that level 7 going into BlizzCon was a little bit strong.
The Rhaegar and the Arthas deny Rhaegar for that burst heal makes me think that last pick might be, well, they've already got the double tank though. Thought maybe they're gonna try to do something maybe more along the lines of a melee assassin to add to that. So I kind of wondered if we would see Murd in there in this position. Yeah, just in case you don't get Arthas, but you still have the Thunderclap, potentially with reverberation that we've seen before, and then Karzim Earth Ally. Welcome to Earth Ally.
Earth. Earth.
I just did an Independence Day reference accidentally. Sorry. It's
Will
a
Smith,
Sunday,
ladies and
everybody.
gentlemen. Well, this is a great spot for them to be in to flex this last damage dealer. They can get with Hanzo, because he fits such an auto attack plus burst style role, that you can really flex this out to be any style. We're going against Karazim, which has the AoE heals. They keep it pretty meta with the Tychus.
All right.
Welcome to Earth, drop Tychus shades.
Still. What do you think of the drafts?
I like that LFM, keeping it simple, keep it standard. Just continue to evolve your own gameplay. Team 12, theirs is about as standard as it gets. Greymane, Li Ming, Tahaka. Karazim, of course, Buds played a little bit of that last year, which was pretty successful. So it gives them the opportunity to kind of close this out without worrying too much. Obviously, they banned the Abathur right out the gate. Not willing to approach anything that could be, you know, a bit too even slight cheese. So it's just it's a very neutral draft, I'd say.
You know what's kind of cool now, looking at how LFM played that out and getting that Arthas and that Rhaegar, and then getting Muradin from that, and the warrior choke that we did see somewhat from LFM did put Team 12 in a position where they wanted to get Muradin in that spot, and then bringing in Tychus at the end. There's a lot of lockdown. And then getting Karazim too, there's no cleanse until 16. So Muradin may very well be the target. Now having Tychus, having Hanzo damage behind that too, and then having the lockdown of those warriors. It's a pretty cool draft to see from LFM and Team 12. Let's see how it works out for LFM. Let's see if they can get a win on Team 12. We're headed to Sky Temple for Game 3.
Gilly, one of the ultimate game changers is Mosh Pit, and I'm looking at Team 12. There's really, outside of the Stormbolt from Muradin, he'll likely be caught in the power slide, there's really only Wave of Force. And we actually saw that in one of our games previously, where once that Wave of Force went out, ETC has free reign to just mosh on anybody.
Yeah, Dansky, is Dansky playing or is it Kier? Dansky will need to be patient without Li Ming if that's the case then. Or do LFM feel like they need that ETC to have stage dive to make sure that they're soaking at the same level as Dahaka? We shall see. LFM heads straight up to the eye. Not so much Team 12. They're gonna go for a really quick tower hit. Li Ming's gonna spot that out and stop the, or dismount, slow down the rotations.
I don't think they get much. Well, they actually got an entire tower. Excuse me. I guess that works pretty well when you've got an Iron Fist Karazim and a Worgen form Greymane. Every little bit counts, but we will resort to the laning phase. Dahaka uses that Brush Stalker, goes up to the top. He was there more, a little bit of extra pepper on that, and then also to make sure and protect for any peels.
Yeah, before on Sky Temple, what you would see is this solo lane would be in the bottom lane. And then you'd have people rotating out and around, and then you'd have your global in the bottom, hopefully to push during that first phase. But because the phase is later, and people are prioritizing those camps as soon as they spawn at 1 minute in, being generally the Giants, it's cool to see that evolution of the solo lane being swapped up to the top.
Yeah, again, just based on our earlier series, though, Gilly, I'm still waiting for somebody to break the norm, kind of break the meta in this, because both teams, they both pick them up at almost identical times. They get cleared out. There's nobody that really has gained a substantial lead off of these. It seems to be pretty neutral along the way, but there's an advantage. Cure going in on the backside on the Aware. He's going to swipe out. He's going to have to disengage. Dansky's coming in trying to get the reset. Yeah,
Buds took a lot of damage early on, so did Cure, but the great sense of smell from Team 12 as all 5 file in one by one to this bottom lane. And they'll take 1 kill and first blood.
They'll move on up, try not to miss any soak top. You know, sometimes say, hey, you know, who's going to get the lead? They tried to commit to getting a takedown of their own. LFM got punished on the way out, so a win there for Team 12.
Yeah, I thought maybe they'd be able to get the kill on Buds. Didn't really seem like he had any dash target to run back to, but still just was able to run back to the gate the old-fashioned way. Turned the focus toward Kira. It was just long enough to distract while the rest of Team 12 came in with those rotations. Now both teams heading on up and getting the bruisers to set up. And Temple's activating in 30 seconds, top of mid.
You know, sometimes, Gilly, when teams find themselves down on Sky Temple, they'll oftentimes look to the boss to create an opportunity, whether it's to push a lane or whether it's to force a team fight. And when we see Hanzo on the other side going into that scatter shot build, does allow them to have boss race, so they can do a little bit of both. And if they can find an opportunity for that, or if they need to find an opportunity for that late game, that is an advantage they'll have on their side. So we'll see how that plays out as the game goes on, and whether they do need to get desperate for a call like that.
Yeah, Team 12 up in the top lane is trying to clear out LFM's bruisers so that theirs can push freely as they move on up to the top temple. LFM are working on that middle temple, and I've started that just slightly ahead of the top one, but Team 12, like in the last game, starting to amass the experience advantage.
A little bit of pressure here from Team 12 as their Knights are still here, but now the return of LFM, they're getting some pressure on there. Cure going in. Swab's going to be okay to walk away. We also have ETC and Hanzo about to have a little bit of action middle.
Yeah, the pulling up of multiple of LFM just by having that bruiser clear and pushing their own made it to where Goku could try to slow down the tempo and stall it out, at least until Team 12 could get theirs. If not, get theirs and then rotate back down maybe for the final few shots. But keeping Hanzo along with ETC was enough to ensure that LFM got the rest of the tempo, so flat trade between the two.
And that's a good thing for LFM. The longer a game goes on, the more opportunities they can find, and if they lose those opportunities early, sometimes you can see, again, Team 12 will just be like, all right, well, you gave us an inch, we're going to take a mile. And I think for LFM, not giving up those inches early game are a key component for them to continue to evolve. They find themselves just slightly down in XP, but it's marginal at best. So they're doing well so far.
Team 12 keeping tabs on them. Justin going deep in the line of fire. Figgy turns that right back around on him and has the follow-up from Swab and Draded. But with the rest of Team 12 close by, he can dwarf toss back out to the safety of his teammates.
Dansky is following up just about every form of CC he's throwing out there. He went power hungry, so his damage is amped up every time he grabs those globes. And I really like the direction that we're seeing these in these engagements, and they're only going to get tougher. Potentially Cursed Bullet to deal with that chunky front line there between ETC and Arthas. And then if Li Ming can follow up behind that, it'll be lights out. We'll see in just a few minutes as both teams approaching level 9.
Yeah, I'm looking and I don't really see what we would get other than the norm from either sides of the teams. But definitely Wave of Force from Li Ming, given that ETC. Maybe a holding on if you really wanted to have Disintegrate for any reason, but it doesn't really seem. Wave of Force can also help with follow-up kills, pulling someone back even further. I don't think we've seen a single Disintegrate.
Not yet. Not yet. I think it'll be pretty limited and very situational.
Yeah.
Wave of Force, as you said, can help confirm the kills regardless. But either way, Team 12 has done really well in the wave clear department. LFM has kind of been sticking around. They missed out on maybe an extra wave or two, so they find themselves a little bit further down here. Figgy's got himself nice, healthy wave there. Hopefully, they'll be able to clear this out and contest.
Hey, hey. Justing's thinking about it. Palm was selected, so no drag into 7-sided strike. He has the ability to save a Greymane if he dives in. But the isolation could still be possible, not only from isolation, but from a Haymaker. Went into Thunderburn, so if he hits someone with the Thunderclap, at 13 we'll have the double dosage, the healing static. Might be enough survivability to warrant having a Haymaker, or just if they feel like they're so far ahead of LFM in this case that Team 12 can have a little fun. Nope.
Stage dive comes in, you know where he's landing. You just kind of line up the Haymaker as he lands. But there's the Cursed Bullet, does go out the tongue. Nice cleanse, nice Ancestral onto Hanzo. He releases the arrow in return, does not land, however.
Goku gets an isolation and the drag on the Aware, pulling him back. Here's gonna get separated from the team if he goes down there. Dives right on out. The root hits Goku. He's trying to survive if he can from all this damage, healing up. The palm finally goes out, and it's blown up as soon as the palm is down. LFM takes out Dahaka.
It's a pivotal moment right here as they now have control of the temple. They get themselves back into this game and exude some sort of control here. So LFM, not throwing any punches, and credit, get the Aware. Getting that cleanse in on time and then landing the Ancestral, allowing them to re-engage, hit a big reset in terms of abilities and cooldowns on the side of Team 12 and allowed LFM to re-engage there.
Yeah, Team 12 immediately went to the boss to see if LFM would take advantage of that, but it was Dahaka who was the one who was taken out, which means that he can get there quite quickly even without a stock, just using that Brush Stalker movement speed bonus. Team 12 lost Dahaka, lost the last few shots, but they're still doing really well. They rotate out quickly and get their mercenary camps to keep the pressure on against LFM, or just keep up with the camps that LFM are getting. But LFM has been a lot closer to Team 12 in experience at this point in the game than in either of the past 2 games of series.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is a little bit safer play, a little bit more cognizance when it comes to controlling rotations. It's only 1 kill to 1. They haven't been able, or they haven't given up those small opportunities that Team 12 has capitalized on. Swab's kind of far forward here, as is the rest of the team. Both globals, although we do have Greymane in the top. So maybe they're going to look with the global being matched. And Hanzo here, this is where they're going to try and mix things up. Greymane on his way down. Both globals will use it here in just a moment. Gilly, here we go.
Yeah, Hanzo burned this down, and how. Now the Odin dropped in preparation for the fight. LFM knows this is going to be a fight, but Swabs is taken out so fast. Figgy stage dives onto the point, trying to push Team 12 off of it, but it just won't be had. Justing is getting low, but the palm comes in, but saving Justing. Team 12 continuing to put on the damage. Figgy just about to fall, and down he goes. Team 12 taking out 2, using the resets, taking out more, though Tychus has fallen. This is a bloodbath, but Team 12 comes out on top.
God, I started to wonder if anybody was going to die in that, but that was an epic battle that Team 12 just took a victory on. Now we're looking at that 1-level lead. We've got a boss pushing bottom lane, and oh, by the way, there's 2 temples available. Stage dive comes in here, but Gilly, the palm that comes in from Buds just really kept them in this.
I'm just watching all of these range damage dealers. Dansky is untouched, T is untouched. Everyone is trading out as they can on the point, getting all of those health bars just down and then trying to force someone else to be a target. But once the resets start coming in, they never let go. Dansky gets dominance. They keep that going. Ends up with a half health bar. Not too shabby for Team 12.
Dansky was completely out of mana after that one, and justifiably so.
Oh yeah.
Goku, little drag there. Gonna go ahead and dodge the root. Stage. Oh, that is
ambitious. Dragon Arrow doesn't hit. This is, everything's dedicated to this. This will be Goku going down, but this gives a lot of time for Team 12 in this top lane.
I don't know about Army there. I think Army might have been used to eat some tower ammo or just the tower shots. I don't really see where Army came in there. That was a lot committed. We get a fort for a keep trade. That's a win for Team 12, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, that it is. Trying to make the best of a bad situation. They knew they were going to be down the 16, so getting what they can experience-wise, they get the fort. Then going back to the temple, they can take some shots or put some shots on that final fort of LFM, get them to 16, but even with that, now a keep gone. Still quite behind structurally.
Here comes Goku on the brush on the bottom right. He's going to be looking for a target. He's got one, and ETC, the cleanse by the Aware. Going to keep him alive. They're continuing to push forward. Team 12 is going to back, and that was good awareness by the Aware because Dahaka was coming up. His Brush Stalker was interrupted in that kill before, so they knew he was coming back. Clutch plays by LFM. Good awareness. We still have a temple, but without 16, I think LFM's just going to look to hold the lanes, get back an experience, and hopefully be able to take another fight for the next one.
Yeah, deal with all the mercenary camps that undoubtedly Team 12 will be throwing at you. Getting both of the giant camps as they put the global back onto the temple point for the final few shots.
Getting control. It's Team 12. Getting the vision in the top. If you look at the mini-map, LFM has at least pushed out so vision is midway through the map. That's something that can help you control rotations, look for opportunities. Speaking of opportunities, Justin coming over. Yeah, let's see what's going on over. He finds himself a swabs. He's like, yeah, they're probably on the camp. We're not going to bother with it.
You know, if this comes down to another boss fight, it's going to be a lot of damage from Hanzo once he gets the piercing arrows at 16. Might be the difference between what happened last time and this time. Depends how fast Li Ming can get the resets. It took time for Dansky to get resets, or if they can take out Li Ming quickly so they don't have to worry about that. And that is the benefit of having that double warrior and the burst heal that Rhaegar has.
See if they can hold on. Both teams clearing out the camp up at the top. LFM, you know, if worse comes to worse, they can try and find a fight. ETC does have that global. I don't think they're going to be willing to commit to this. That knight's still available, the mage part of that. The spell armor. I just don't think it's a good opportunity for them to fight. I think the boss will probably be that moment that we talked about at the very beginning of the game. Is it sometimes when you find yourself down, you have to use that boss as a form of initiation or a way to turn it? And if you're Team 12, are you willing to fight or are you willing to give it up? But with 20 on the approach, it's up to LFM to make something happen right now.
1 minute till the boss, and Temple in the top is tricky for the teams and how they want to approach that, but having globals with the stage dive of ETC makes that a bit easier for LFM. Grouping around this bruiser camp, knowing that someone's going to be out trying to deal with these catapults as they push.
Just going to wait. Don't step out and press W. Oh, well, hello.
Buzz has been spotted. Oh, drag, great Icebound Fortitude in preparation for that stage dive down, but Team 12 are not here.
All I heard was just a few little guitar strings being plucked, and that was about it.
It was a sad song.
Yeah, it was a sad song. Now they've instantly turned their attention towards the boss, Gilly. This is a tough moment.
Yes, and LFM are here to clear this out so quickly, but it's Dahaka who's not on the temple for Team 12. Dahaka's just keeping track of this, and now Dahaka and Justin are going to come in, keep LFM here, and the rest of Team 12 are heading right on in to the core of LFM.
They've got a blow up. This is not a guarantee. I thought that they would threaten this and then back Murden. However, the longer he stays alive, all of a sudden this is falling rapidly. Justine making use of the healing static. Welcome to HGC North America, where Team 12 is giving the lessons for free here to LFM.
Team 12 had no problem giving that boss. They didn't want to deal with the piercing arrows of Hanzo. They had already taken out a keep, getting that in a trade for a mere fort in the bottom lane when they had the 16 advantage. Sort of cat and mouse, I would say, at the end there for the rotations and the shot calling of Team 12. But as we expected, Team 12 did not want to lose a game there. They didn't want to show anything. They didn't want to be forced to even be concerned with LFM. So an expected outcome for the series.
Yeah. It seemed prophetic, I guess, when you mentioned the level 4. It's like, oh, he'll have that double. Maybe he won't pick Avatar. He'll go Haymaker. He didn't, but we talked about the level 4. He ended up going the healing static at 13, and he just squatted on him. And when you're trying to kill a Murden and you stay in that little bubble, you just continually give him that 5% per hero. And if you're in there, you're not going to kill him. They didn't kill him, and the rest of the team got work done.
Yeah, the one concern for me is that Dahaka died pretty fast, and Buds was still on the temple. So it was like, okay, you guys are maybe spreading out really far, but Buds went in and helped out in the end, and the damage, you get a Greymane like that just freely on the core, even though Dragon's Arrow came in, did some damage, slowed things down, it's just not going to happen.
I honestly thought they were doing it just to force a back, which is, you know, a very common thing in HGC. Like, all right, you got the boss, but you're going to have to defend the course. That boss doesn't do anything. They still get the temple. Like, what if we just go? What if we just stay on this core? I mean, I'm Murden. I can live forever. Just go. It's fine. You kids go out and play. I'm just going to stay home and take care of everything here. And Murden did work, Justine allowing his team to finish the job, and 3-0 here.
That kind of reminds me of the game that allowed Tempest to qualify for BlizzCon last year. It all came down to a Sky Temple game versus Mighty. It was game 5 of this insane series. And everyone but Sign, I think it was Sign with his Tyrael, and then Hyde in his Ariel, and Hyde like drew people back for a long time, knocked people off the boss point, and then eventually Sign just like went to the core along with the boss and won. But he was the only one left, and Mighty was going to the core. It seems like it's always down to a crazy boss fight in the end, and this time Team 12 said no, not today.
Yeah, and it's a smart call. And they try, again, you can use that as a way to initiate a fight, make something crazy happen. They had the Hanzo race. They attempted to make that happen. That was textbook on what LFM had to do, basically. It's a desperation call. It just seems like Team 12, through their experience, had an answer for it. They weren't baited in there. They played it correctly, did a few things differently because they had the tools to be able to do that, and pulled off the victory.
Well, we're waiting to hear from, I believe it's Justine from Team 12. Team 12 looks really good. LFM came in. This weekend was a tough weekend. They played Space Station. They played Team 12. Did win one game versus Space Station, though. Learning. They've got a lot of learning to do, but it's a good start.
It's a good start, and they had a tough weekend. Normally, you're like, all right, we'll watch the other teams. We'll play one. No, you got initiated 2 games first weekend against one of the top teams as well. And there were definitely some signs in the Space Station, which gives you hope that they can kind of climb up. I don't think anybody's really expecting them to be top 1 or 2. We kind of know where that hierarchy is established, but it's about progressing. This is a long year. You stay out of those bottom 2, you can keep moving the same way that we saw Team Freedom do last year. They started out slow. We're in the lower part. And then all of a sudden they became one of the best teams in North America. So there is some brightness to staying in the league and then being able to improve throughout.
Yeah, the expectation to part 1, even at phase 1, might just be get games here and there when we can, but we might not ever win an entire series. But then you have that break time too while the clashes are going on, continue to get scrims versus these teams, and then come back with a vengeance in the second part. If you end up in the Crucible, at least you've gotten all of this experience that hopefully you'd be able to defend your position. And then you can start the Team Freedom climb in the second phase. Now we've seen every single team from North American HGC for the first phase. Jayha, what are your thoughts on, who's shaping out to be the number 1?
Tempo, Team 12. I think that's pretty much a given. And then we look at Team Freedom. They did really well against Gale Force today, who I thought performed really well on Friday. Stumbled a little bit today, I think maybe draft-wise a couple of times. Work out a few kinks there. But Simplicity, it's can Simplicity get in that top 3? I think they are more than capable, but I think that race between Team Freedom, Tempo Storm, and then, of course, Gale Force is going to take care of that 3 to 6 spot. We'll see if Space Station can change my mind as well. And then, of course, LFM. But Simplicity, their, hey, let's team fight mentality has changed. And everything I saw from them this weekend shows a lot of promise.
Yeah, the only person it seems to, or the only team, it seems like we aren't quite sure where they would be sitting is Heroes Hearth. They only played versus Tempo. We know Tempo is one of those top teams. So we're still waiting to see from them, but everyone else, you have a good-ish indication of where they're at least at the end of week 1. Let's check in with Justin now from Team 12. Hey, Justin, congratulations. How are you guys feeling about the top few teams? You guys feel like you are the #1 team in NA?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it's us, Tempo, and Freedom.
All right, we heard that from Tempo too, so it seems to be consistent. Now I wanted to ask you, because we had talked to you last phase, and you said you had been scrimming even in Death Sum, and you felt like their scrim results didn't translate into actual competitive wins. Do you feel like that's going to be the case for LFM? Do you feel like LFM are on the same level that even in Death were when they were first introduced into HGC?
I think LFM will probably do better.
Okay.
I think that their shot calling and drafting is really good. So maybe they just need to work on some mechanical stuff.
All right, well, thank you. Jayhow, you got questions?
Yeah, Justin, you guys obviously made a pretty big change in terms of how you guys are approaching things. Glaurung, of course, going over to Tempo, and then Prismaticism being replaced. So you've got Kieran Dansky. You guys relied a lot on some flashy stuff last year. It seems like you guys have settled into a different style. Am I wrong in kind of assessing that you guys have a little bit more potential with this? How do you feel about this versus last year?
I definitely think our team is more well suited to do a variety of strategies as opposed to just being really good at 1 or 2 things. I think we didn't really show too much crazy stuff for this, obviously, but we'll have some crazy drafts coming still down the line.
We know you guys rely a lot on the Wombos. We didn't necessarily get to see it, I think, probably because of LFM. When you look around, was there any team outside of maybe the top 2 that you kind of alluded to a minute ago? Was there anything that stood out to you this weekend when you look forward to future games that might give you guys some trouble?
Well, maybe not us, but I do think that LFM will improve very quickly in a league format. And they might be near the bottom now, but I could see them more near the middle of the pack by the time it becomes Crucible time.
I've got to ask, Ron Paulwall, still there, man. Didn't want to give us something different this year?
No, it's coming. I just couldn't really figure out the instructions on my thing.
Is that why it's laying on the bed?
Yeah, it's a blanket. I sleep with that to wake up for HGC in the morning.
All right, well, congratulations getting the win here in week 1.
Here's an idea.
Thanks.
The Wally. Think about it. You guys are playing Tempo Storm next weekend. Tell me about that match. How confident are you guys will be able to get the win?
I'd say about a 12 out of 12 on the scale.
All right. Good luck to you guys. I'm excited for that match. The floor is yours for shoutouts.
All right. Shoutouts to everyone who's continued supporting us from Roll20 time until now. Shoutouts to Milk and Cookies, who has been a great analyst and support to us, a coach. He's been really helpful. Pretty much a shout out to the fans, and Jayhow for showing up to HGC.
Hey!
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Congrats.
Thank you.
We did it! You did it! The first weekend of HGC, it's done. How you feeling?
I actually have more energy today than I did Friday. I think I'm still adjusting to the time difference and everything here.
Yeah.
Feels great, man. Just being able to be a part of this, it's amazing to see these teams. You know, I've been watching them for so long, and to actually be here and be a part of it every day, it feels amazing. You can see the progress here in North America, and so to be a part of that progress, it's an incredible feeling. It's good.
It's good to have you here. Let's see
Thank
the matches you can look forward to commentating on Friday. And you guys at home can look forward to watching on Friday. We'll be looking at the matches after HGC Korea in Europe. Method versus Fnatic. Oh man, that is going to be a rocker. That sounds very exciting. For those of you who maybe don't recognize the name Method, formerly under Team Expert, and they did really well today. And then Team Dignitas and Diamond Skin. In NA, we get Tempo Storm versus Team 12, so we've got an awesome hype match to kick off NA on Friday too. And then Team Freedom versus Heroes Hearth. I'm excited to see how Heroes Hearth does versus Team Freedom there.
Method versus Fnatic.
Yes.
Look, NA, EU, I don't care who you are, that is a matchup to watch. Nick last year going into BlizzCon, I would have said might be 1 or 2 in terms of range carries. By the way, they got Schwempy this year, and you said they looked really good. They looked very good. So EU has an amazing start on Friday, but with us having Team 12 and Tempo, Friday is action-packed. It's like I wake up, I watch EU. It's like I have to leave. I've got to drive here. I've got to be ready. But I want to see how this series ends, so maybe I'll stall, get in here, Gilly stall for me. I've got to watch that. But NA, there's a lot to look forward to. We get to see how Heroes Hearth stacks up against Team Freedom and whether they can kind of bust into that top 3 or 4, since Team Freedom has been projected to be up there by some of the other teams. Friday is amazing for Heroes. I'm a fan sitting here. I get to talk about them and be a fan. I don't care. I'm going to enjoy myself Friday watching all the action.
He said it. It's going to be amazing, so make sure you don't miss it. Thanks for hanging out with us here at the Heroes Global Championship this weekend. We'll see you on Friday for all the awesomeness.